Welcome, guys. This is going to be my 4th official review, but this one's going to be a little different for a couple reasons. For one, my other 3 reviews I've done, they were mostly scripted. Like, I wrote out a review before actually recording it. This is completely unscripted. I haven't written out anything. It's just off the top of my head. And I actually can't remember what the second part was that I was going to say. Oh, yeah, it's going to be much shorter, too. Because, my first review was like 18, 19 minutes. I had a 13-minute review. And then the Resident Evil 2 review was like 10 minutes, I think. This one's going to be much shorter. And like I said, this is just off the top of my head. And the game is Detroit Become Human. Sorry, you can't see it that well. There you go. So yeah, once again, completely unscripted. I didn't write out a review or anything. It's just off the top of my head how I feel about it. I've beaten it twice. Well, I've beaten it once, and I'm like 80% way through the second playthrough, so almost twice. Pretty much twice. So, my thoughts on the game basically are, David Cage games, they're all really similar. Like, they all have amazing, they're all beautiful games. They all have great graphics, especially this one. I feel like Detroit Become Human is my favorite of all the David Cage games. It's, beautiful game, beautiful environments. It's a looker. That's for sure. The characters, they're interesting. Connor and Hank, they were interesting. Marcus, I found somewhat interesting. Just I'm not trying to spoil anything. Kara, she was somewhat interesting too. Really, Connor and Hank stole the show, I think. But besides that, it was good voice acting for the most part. There was some cringy voice acting in there, but for the most part, it was good acting, good voice acting, good acting, blah blah blah. A beautiful game. The story, it was well written. It was interesting story. Interesting concept of like I said, I don't really want to spoil anything, but like the androids, they become deviants, So spoiler alert, androids start to become, deviant, and I won't really say much more than that. But you take control of 3 characters: Connor, Marcus, and Kara. And another great thing I love about it is the fact that there's so many different branching paths you can do, which is why I'm going through the second time and picking like all the options I didn't pick the first time to see how it plays out. And it's playing out quite a bit different, and I like that. That's a big plus. All of these are big pluses. Now, here's my problem with the game, and I'm going to repeat something I said in my Uncharted review. And I can't remember the exact word for word, but it was something like story in a game, graphics in a game. To me, in my opinion, those are just like bonuses. They're great to have, but they're not absolutely necessary. What is absolutely necessary is the gameplay, how fun it is to play the game. And that's where not only Detroit Become Human, but pretty much all David Cage games drop the ball. Because, let me tell you, in my opinion, this game is boring as hell to play. The gameplay is trash. And since I review my games mostly like 80% based on gameplay, and then the rest based on graphic, story, and everything else, that's going to tell you that it's not going to be too great of a score. You're not going to like it. All you people out there that love this game. And I like this game. I do. Like I said, I feel like, let me get back to what I was saying. The gameplay is trash. You walk around for getting like 75% of the game so slowly, and you do the most mundane things like, just set the table as Marcus for Carl, and stuff like that, and to do it, it's just you press a button prompt and that's it, and that's not fun. That's just not fun. It's not fun, in my opinion. Maybe some people think that's fun, but I think the majority of people, even who like this game, don't think it's fun. Like, I don't know. I just don't. I think the gameplay is awful. So normally for a game like this, normally I would give it like a game like this. Normally with as bad of the gameplay as this has, I would probably give it like a 3 out of 10. But because of how beautiful it was, the atmosphere, it really got you immersed into it. The story, the characters, the acting, all that, I'm definitely bumping it up. And I think I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. And I know I'm telling you, it's because of the gameplay. If it actually had some fun gameplay, even just decent gameplay, it would probably be an 8 out of 10. And if it had fantastic gameplay, I'd give it maybe a 9 out of 10. And let me tell you, I've said this in my other reviews, I'm kind of harsh on reviewing games. I gave Uncharted 2 a 7.5 out of 10, because a 7.5 to me is good. A 6 out of 10 is average, maybe even a tad below average, to be honest. Tad below average. And for a game that I say has awful gameplay, to get a review of 6 out of 10, that should just tell you how good the rest of the game is. The rest of the mechanics of the game. Once again, the story, the acting, and just how beautiful it is and how immersed you get into it. It's all fantastic. It's just the gameplay is garbage, in my opinion. I actually just had a conversation with someone on Twitter about it, and apparently it's their favorite game, or at least one of their favorite games ever. 10 out of 10, they said. And I told them basically what I'm saying right now in this review, that I couldn't give it any more than a 6 out of 10, and I almost gave it a 5.5 out of 10, but I think a 6 out of 10 is fair. It's a tad bit below average, in my opinion. It's because some people think a 7.5 isn't a good score. That's average. I think a 7.5 out of 10 is good. Hence the reason why I gave Uncharted 2 a 7.5 out of 10. This I don't think is good. A really good game. It's just because of the gameplay. I'm telling you, it's so boring. Like, I'm not gonna go through it again, ever again. Honestly, I almost didn't go through it a second time, but I was just kind of curious as to see how the story would play out. And it's boring. It's just boring. The only somewhat entertaining parts are just, when they get, when the story, and that's really the only entertaining part. But in my opinion, the gameplay is by far the most important part in any game, by far. And David Cage games, they just don't have good gameplay, in my opinion, at all. It's trash. but overall, the game isn't trash. It's a 6 out of 10. Little below average. And like I said, this was unscripted. Usually I write, pages of what I'm gonna say. I just did this completely unscripted. Just started up the video and started talking. So yeah, final score for Detroit Become Human, 6 out of 10. Hope you enjoyed the video. And I don't know what I'm going to review next, but it might be coming pretty soon. I don't know. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. God damn you, David Cage. Can't you just make a game that has all the good stuff plus amazing gameplay, then you might get a 9 out of 10 from Colin Adams, aka Fat Man. Goodbye, folks.